You asked for measurements for the leg press. Now I'm gonna give it to you. Okay, as I just said, I'm gonna do some measurements on the leg press. Over the last 2-3 weeks, a lot of people have asked me about a cut list and a step-by-step guide to how to build it, and I don't have that, neither the cut list or the step-by-step. My best advice is to watch the 2 previous videos about the leg press, the first one and then the following one with the improvements. Make sure to watch the one with the improvements. I did a lot of improvement on it, safety-wise and stability, etc. I know most of you guys live in the States and you use the imperial system. I don't. I use the metric system. So I'm gonna mention everything in centimeters. For conversion, 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. So whatever I say, you just divide it with 2.54. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing is gonna be the legs and the frame. So there are 3 legs on each side, and then the frame in the bottom. The angle of the leg press is 45 degrees. So let's make a simple drawing. This is the 45-degree leg press, and over here will be the seat. Here we have the first leg, then there's a center leg, and then the last leg, and the frame. All wood that I used is 2x4, also for the legs, but the legs are doubled, so technically you can use 4x4 instead. And the angular part here is, the first one I just drawn is actually the bottom of the rail for the trolley. And then on top of that, there's another 2x4 going like that, on the 4 side pointing up. And here is the bottom of the rail is the 2 sides you see here. So the first measurement, I'll just take another color for that, is the back leg until up to the highest point of that. That is 122 centimeters. And that's standing on the 4 side of a 2x4. It's not exactly 2 and 4 inches. It's 9.5 centimeters here. And the total height of the leg press up here will then be around just a little below 145. When I made this leg press, I just did a lot of research on the internet. Then I looked on commercial grades. I watched all the dimensions that were available, and most of them were around 140 to 150, maybe 60 centimeters. But of course, a commercial grade piece of equipment needs to accommodate a lot of people. So the higher you make this, the longer a person and longer leg will be able to work inside this. And for me, I could make it a bit shorter, maybe a total height of 120, 30 maybe. So take off 10 to 20 centimeters off here. And for reference, I'm 177 centimeters. So all 3 of these looks kind of like this. 45-degree angle here, like that. And as I just said, the 122 is from here and to the top part of it. So the next 2 ones, I measured those from the floor. I'll tell you about that later. So the height from here, so the dimension from here and down to here, 97 centimeters. If you make it a meter, it's okay, because then it'll just move it a few centimeters upwards, and if you make it shorter, it'll just move it a little the other way. This one, 60 centimeters. So that's the legs. As I said, I made this with 2x4s, and I doubled it, and then of course I have that on both sides. So you could technically use 4x4s. Now the reason why this one is 122 and I measured this one is because the most rear leg stands on top of this 4 side, and the other legs is mounted from the inside. So there are some screws going in here. And since this is a 45 degree and we know the dimension over here, then this length will be the same as you have here. So in that case, it's 122 plus 9.5. But we need the overall length, and that is 200 centimeters to 2 meters. So we have roughly 70 centimeters for the backrest. And the length of the angle part of the leg press here is just around 190 centimeters. And depending on if you change the height of it, then you're gonna need to change the length of it. But I'd say start cutting something like that and then adjust the length so it fits perfectly. So now I'm just gonna finish off the drawing from this view, and then we will take a top view and take the width of it as well. Down here is a 2x4 laying on the fourth side. In each end there's another 2x4 that goes on the width side of it. I also have one down here. And here's two pieces of 2x4 and the holes here acts as the adjustment for the backrest. The holes are 2.8 centimeters, and I used a 3/4 inch pipe which is 2.6 centimeters, so it fits well into those holes. And if I need to adjust it, I'll just take the pipe out and move it to one of the other holes. And then the backrest is made of plywood, reinforced with some laths underneath. In the bottom there's a 3/4 inch pipe, same length as the one for the adjustment. And it just rests on top of that pipe. And then the laths underneath, resting up here on the pipe, of course. In my first version of the leg press, before I did the improvements, I just used hinges, so the backrest was hinged to this 2x4 laying here. But I realized that's not how you should load the hinges. So I took them off, just put a pipe in there, and it works pretty well. On the most outer part of the leg press, going here on the rail, I have a 2x4 mounted alongside the rail. It goes all the way down to the floor. And this one you have to measure yourself. And this piece of wood is gonna prevent the weight trolley from just crushing me if I lose the control of it. So the weight trolley will be hitting this part. And on the inside in the rail, I'll get to that later. But the starting system is then a little further away than the end position of this. So it's probably in here somewhere. And in my case, this one is 93 centimeters. And again, this depends on how far you can go with it. So what I did, my girlfriend was helping me on that one. So I put the weight trolley as far down as I would feel comfortable with. And then I told her to mark somewhere on the side of the leg press with a pen and saying this is the spot. And then I just make sure that this piece of wood will hit that spot. But in my case, 93 centimeters, and I am 177 centimeters. But if you have longer or shorter legs, this number is gonna change. So try that out yourself. Let's take a short look at the leg press. The first leg, as I said, is standing on top of this 2x4. And on the inside, the other one, the double one, is then going all the way down. So if this is 122, then this one is 131.5. And then this part is the bottom of the rail for the weight trolley, as you can see here. And then there's a 2x4 on the side, I'll get to that. But in here is where the wheels is gonna run inside. And this one is just to prevent it from going outside here. This one is 97 and the other one is 60. Again, you can, it doesn't have to be that precise. You'll just end up moving it a little bit. And that's from the floor and up to that part. And then the other part, the double part of it, is then a little bit shorter because of this support wood that goes here. But technically, depending on the wheels you get, you can make it the same height as the outer part of the rail. Make sure when you go buy wheels that they're gonna be heavy duty. So 4 of those wheels gonna take up all the weight that you're gonna have on that weight trolley, and perhaps a little stronger than that. And it's locked wheels, so they can't rotate. In my first version, I used rotating wheels, and it just didn't work. So lock wheels and make sure to align them properly so they're all straight when they go down in this rail. And as I said, this is the piece of wood that will stop the weight trolley. It's gonna hit this part. So that's my maximum depth of this trolley. And here you can see it's just a piece of pipe, 3/4 inch, and the backrest laying on top of that. And over here is the adjustment. I put a gusset on here to reinforce it a little. And then the backrest is just lying there. So now I'm gonna take the width of it. I have a lot of people saying that I should make it wider, and that probably goes for many of the constructions that I make. But I want to make things as small as possible because I don't have a lot of space. My indoor gym is only around 12 square meters. I think that is 86 square feet. It's really small, so most of my machines here, the leg press, and I have some GHD and other stuff on the other side of this wall. I want them to be as small as possible because I don't have that much space out here as well. Maybe I recommend that you make it a little bit wider. And one of the reasons is when I use these, this is the start-stop handles. And when I sit in here, I get squeezed, kind of squeezed between these two start-stop handles. It's not a problem, but if it had been just a little narrower, I wouldn't fit in there. And maybe you should make it a little wider. If you make it, it's up to you. So let's continue the drawing. Okay, so the top view. I forgot to put on the gusset down here. So it's just a piece of wood cut in a 45-degree angle and put down here as well. And there's a pipe, see here, and then this is the backrest. You just cut a piece of plywood that would fit on top of this pipe, and then goes, all the way over here. There's a pipe going in here, and then underneath, put some wood underneath with, either 2x4s or laths or maybe some other plywood just to reinforce it. So the width out here is 60 centimeters. Again, it might be a good idea to add a little extra here, so maybe 70, 80 centimeters. Some would say that it gets more stable, and yeah, technically it does, but this one is actually really sturdy, and I haven't really felt any uncomfortable movement on it, so 60 is fine, but again, I'm a bit stuck in there, so add a little extra here, then all the other dimensions on this side will just be added as well. So this is the 2x4 lying here, and here I put some 2x4s inside as well, and they are on the inside of the frame. So I just need to draw the frame thickness as well. This is like that. And then we got the bottom of the rail. the one that goes here. Let's say that's here. And on side of that, there's the inside support preventing the wheels from getting out. And on the inside of the rail is the start-stop handle with a hinge. So the hinge is here. Just get to that in a minute. That goes on top of a 2x4, and the 2x4 fits into that rail because it's roughly 2 inches wide. So let's say it's up to here. Now it's starting to get a bit difficult to view this, so let's take a look at it. This is the part being 60 centimeters. Same goes for this one, because it's the width of the frame. The angle part of the leg press goes here, and on the inside, 2 pieces of wood, and then the hinge for starting and stopping. And as you can see, this is a 2x4 going up, hitting the wheel, and then I just made a little gap here, so it's the top layer of it. It's just supporting on the weight trolley. It's being blocked both on the wheels and on the trolley. And when I need to start using the machine, what I'll do is push the weight trolley a little forward, and then I can lift the start-stop handles. I had a few people saying that the hinges here wouldn't hold all the weight, but there's actually not a whole lot of pressure on it. The 2x4 in the rail goes all the way down and hitting this part. When it's supporting the trolley like it's doing now, all the weight is actually gonna go down here. If there was a gap, then it would take up all the weight, of course, and it's not made for that. This is the same kind of hinge that I used for my backrest, but then I replaced it with a steel pipe instead. In the center in here, down here, there's 2 pieces of 2x4, one of them having a hole all the way through it, and then this one in here does not have a hole, so this steel pipe is being stopped when it hit this. And the width of this one, as you can see, it goes to the inside of the frame, so it's the same as these, and that is roughly, in my case, 51 centimeters if this is 60, and we have 2 pieces of 2x4, one on each side. Now this one with the hole in it goes into the rail, so it's a bit narrower. I think this might actually be a 1-inch pipe, but doesn't really matter. It can be 3/4 inch. This is just to prevent the weight trolley from flipping out, so it's gonna catch it. It's not actually touching this piece of wood in here, just in case this flips over, which means the supporting wheels down here will break and stuff. So it's just extra safety, and it's just blocked with a small screw up here, so it won't flip out. Now, making this, you need to be really precise with the alignment, both with these 2 holes, but also in the weight trolley. So it might need to take a little adjustments when you make it. And so the back side of it, what I did in my improvement video, I put on some gussets to reinforce it. I just used laths, you can see, but again, 2x4s or whatever you have. And I only did that because a lot of people saying that I should reinforce it. Before that, it was actually already really super sturdy. I have been jumping on it. I had a lot of weight on it. But it's not a whole lot of wood, and might as well do it. So add gussets wherever it's possible. And down in the bottom, I think I did that for the improvement video as well. Just putting 2x4s between the legs like that. Again, might not be super necessary, but I did it as well. So I'm just gonna finish off this drawing. We have the steel pipe going in here, up to a 2x4 here with a hole, and then on here, 2x4 with a hole. So that's the frame of the leg press. We just need to take a look at the weight trolley. I'm gonna wipe all this out, so take a screenshot and paste it into a document if you need this for reference. So let's take a side view of the weight trolley. We have some furniture wheels. Again, make sure to get some heavy duty ones that are locked in position. And let's say they look like this. And the height of these wheels should then be higher than the foresight of that inside the rail. It's mounted on a 2x4, and on the outer part of that there is a piece of 2x4 cut at an angle. I think this is a 15-degree angle. You can see that in my first video. Going up here to the back side, and there's another one on top of that. I'll just go into details in a second. And on the front side, it's just a piece of plywood. And this is where your legs will be pushing. And a top view. And then let's say the wheels are here. And there is a 2x4 here. And then on the rear wheels, they actually extend a little on the wood, like that. So the width on the rear wheels is gonna be just a little bit larger than the total width of the leg press, because out here I'll be mounting. I put the supporting wheel, the holder for that, so that goes down. There's one over here as well, and then on top of that, I put all these pieces of 2x4s. So in the lowest 2x4 with the angle here, there's a 50mm hole, and inside that there's a 1.5 inch pipe which holds all the weight plates. And 1.5 inch pipe is 4.8 centimeters, so 50mm or 5 centimeters is good for that. And from the top, when the pipe goes in, the same over here. I just fixed it with a screw, and each pipe like that. I recommend that, and I mentioned that in my first video as well, that you use one long piece of pipe. In my case, I used 2 pieces, so they're just fixed here. And the reason for that is I didn't have any pipes longer than that. But I'll give you the measurement of the total width of this, and then see if you can find a pipe of that length. Using just one piece of pipe is going to make it stronger and hold more weight than the one I have. So let's take a look at the trolley. This is the rear part of wood, and the rear wheels goes here. And see if we can see it. And the front wheels down here. And they should be positioned on this trolley so they are in the center of this rail. So if you change the width of the press, you need to change these as well, obviously. I got 3 pieces of 2x4 in the bottom with holes, with a 50mm hole going all the way through, and then fixed with a screw. I actually think I put a screw in the middle one, the center one as well, and the same in the other side. But as I said, I recommend that you use a pipe that goes all the way through. It's going to be much stronger. And then in the center part, I just made the same kind of 2x4s put together. And this supports the foot plate. And then one in the top, because there'll be a load in the more top part of this plate. I could put one in here as well, but it haven't really shown any sign of being weak. So, and on top of that, the piece of wood that goes to the support pipe here. And as I said, the rear piece of wood is wider than the press. And as you can see, I put this piece of wood here, and in here a small piece of wood with a tiny wheel on it, and it's just supporting it, making sure that it stays in here. A small wheel will roll together with the furniture wheels here. And I just did that for some extra safety. And again, if this part breaks, then this steel pipe is gonna catch the weight trolley. I've used this leg press once or twice a week since I made it, and that's I guess that's a few months ago, and I haven't had any bad experience with it. It's not the same grade as the one you'll find in a commercial gym, but I'm okay with that. It's a homemade thing, and it's out of wood. It can be improved, of course it can, but it works for me. If you have any improvements, make sure to put them in the comments. So the total length of the weight trolley from this view here, that's 34 centimeters. You can make it a little longer if you want to do that. I don't think it does anything doing that. And of course, this part is the same width of the leg press frame. So that's 60. The plywood plate for the foot plate goes a little to the side, so that's around 70 centimeters. And for the steel pipe out here, I just measured that for the total width of it being 140 centimeters. And again, I really recommend that you just use one piece of steel pipe instead of two that I made here. And the rear piece of wood, 2x4, is just around 71 centimeters. Again, it's the width here as the frame, and then enough for the two sides of a 2x4 going underneath it, and then maybe a little extra. And in the center, there's the 2x4 going down and hitting and catching the steel pipe, and that's mounted to a similar system to that. So that's some rough measurements of the weight trolley. It can probably be made in a different way and with some different dimensions, but that's how I made it, and it works. Again, I'm still open for improvements. It's made of wood. It's easy to take apart and put together again in another way. So if you have a better idea, put them in the comments down below. So that's basically it. I know it's not an exact cut list, but hopefully it gives you an idea on how to put it together and how much wood you're going to need for it. And if you find a better way to make it, make sure to document it, put it online, throw a link in the comments, and I will gladly take a look at it, and maybe I'll improve this one as well. There's not a whole lot of DIYs on a leg press made of wood, so any improvements is very welcome. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit the like button, and if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. Here's a few other DIYs that might find your interest. See you soon.